Hello, welcome to the last stage in our discussion on quadratic equation. This is still on Commerce Online Academy, and today we want to talk about the graphical method of solving quadratic equation. You must pay very good attention to this topic because this comes out every single year in WAEC and NECO examinations. Quadratic equation is very important that you pay attention to learn it. It comes out both in OBJ and in theory, and it carries high marks. What we are going to do in this class is that to make sure that you understand it very well, we are going to break it into chunks. So today, we are just going to discuss a part of this method, a part of graphical method of solving quadratic equation. In the next class, we are going to take up with the other parts of it. What we want to do today is how to draw the tables of quadratic equation. Before you can solve a quadratic equation using the graphical method, there is always a table of value that you must get, and then you plot the axis before you can now find the root from the graph you've drawn. So let's first of all learn how to draw the table. Now, if you are given a quadratic equation like, if you are given a value like y, if you are given a value like is equal to y is equal to 2x squared minus 9x minus 1. Now note this, that before we can use graphical method to solve a quadratic equation, they must give us the values of x. They must give us the values for x, and then we determine the values for y. Then find the coordinates between the x and y values. Then from there, we can trace our curve and then get the roots of the quadratic equation. So the first thing is that we look for the values of the x given to us. They will always give us the values of the x. Now in this equation, you may be given that x, x is a number that is less than a number that is less than or equal to 6, and a number that is greater than or equal to, let me say, -1. If you are given this kind of thing, you should not be confused. Using inequality, if you have something like this, what it actually means is that x is less than x is less than x is less than or equal to 6, and if we have that a is less than B. It means also that B is greater than A. Therefore, for this value, for this one that we have, that minus 1, we have that minus 1 is less than or equal to x. What it also means is that x, it also means that x is greater than or equal to minus 1. So if you turn it, you change the sign. If you are moving the x from this side to this side, then you change the sign to greater than. So x means any number that is greater or equal to 1 and is less than or equal to 6. Now from this, what it means is that you have to start with 1, minus 1. You have to start from the number minus 1 and then stop at 6. That is this, what this thing represents. That minus 1 is less than or equal to x. Once you see minus or less than or greater, once you see greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, it means that you are going to start with that particular number. But if you see only less than or greater than, it means that you are not going to start with that number. But if they put greater than or equal to, that is this sign, then you are going to start with that particular number. So we are starting with minus 1 and then ending with 6 in the table we are going to construct. Now let's design our table for that. In the table, we are going to have that x, we have x. Now x starts x and it starts from minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The smallest value of it is minus 1 and the highest value of it is 6. That is x, or minus 1 is less than or equal to x. It means that minus 1 is the smallest value there, and that x is less than or equal to 6, means that 6 is the greatest value of x. Now, after getting the values for x, the next thing for us to do now is to put these 2x, put all these terms in the table. Put 2x raised to power 2, then minus 9 and minus 1. So here we have, for 2x raised to power 2, we are going to have, for minus 1, it becomes minus 1 times minus 1 raised to power 2 times 2. Minus 1 raised to power 2 times 2 is going to give us 2. That is minus 1 times minus 1, which is equal to 1. 1 times 2 is equal to 2. So we have 2. For 0, we are going to have 0. For 1, it becomes 1 raised to power 2 times 2. So we are also going to have 2. We are also going to have 2. Then for 2, we are going to have 2 raised to power 2, which is 4. 4 times 2, we are going to have 8. For 3, we are going to have 18. For 4, we are going to have 32. For 5, we are going to have 50. And for 6, we are going to have 72. Okay, so this value is gone. Now we go back to the equation given to us. After that, we have minus 9x. So we create a row for minus 9x. Minus 9x. Now under minus 9x, it becomes minus 9 times minus 1. Minus 9 times minus 1. That is going to give us 9. After that, we have minus 9 times 0. It will give us 0. Then we have this one is going to give us minus 1 times 1. That is going to give us minus 9. This one is going to give us minus 18. This one is going to give us minus 27. This one is going to give us minus 36. Minus 36. This one is going to give us minus 45. And this one is going to give us minus 54. Now, with this now, we go back to the equation again. The next thing we have is minus 1. There is no variable attached to it. So, we put the minus 1 under all the values. So, we have minus 1 here. So, it becomes minus 1 here, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, and minus 1. So we have this. Now the next thing we do is to add everything in this row from here to here. We add everything there, and that is going to give us the value of y. We are not adding the first row, that is this one. We are not adding this one. We are adding from here to here to get y. Add them together. So this one becomes 2 plus 9 will give us 11. 11 minus 1 will give us 10. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 will give us minus 1. 2 plus minus 9 minus 1. This one will give us minus 8. This one will give us minus 11. This one will give us minus 10. This one will give us minus 5. This one will give us 4. This one will give us 14. 14. and this one will give us 17. Okay, that is 72 plus minus 54 minus 1. That will give us 17. And this one, 50 plus minus 40 minus 1. That is going to give us 4. This one will give us, minus 14, right? So minus 3, and then my and then 4. This one should be 4. That is 4, not 14. 4. Okay, so we've gotten our values for y. This is how to construct the table for x and y. So the next thing we are now going to do is to plot the graph, but that will be in the next class. Understanding how to get the table is very, very important, and understanding the values of x, in case the values of x are not given to us straight and given as inequality, how to interpret the inequality and use it to create a table is the first step. Your table alone has a very big mark. Then before you now move to your graph, so the stages involved in marking it are what we are going to discuss. We are going to break this topic into different stages that give us different scores. So the first one is on the table. If your table is created very well, that is the starting point of your success in this work. Once you get your table wrong, you will not get your graph, and every other thing you will not get it. So this is the starting point, and it is very, very crucial. So let's look at let's try and look at another number. Let's solve another example. Now, or let's just bring out these values. So before you solve, you can also draw a small table that will help you, something like this. Now you put everything together. You can put the values of x and values of y together. Minus 1, have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the values you got for y, 10 minus 1 minus 8, 10 minus 1 minus 8, minus 8 minus 11, minus 11, minus 10 minus 3, minus 10, minus 3, 4, and 17. Now you create this small table showing clearly the values for x and the values for y. Now before you start plotting your graph, you may decide to create it, you may decide to leave everything under the main table and continue with your discussion. So now let's look at another example. Example 2. Example 2. Now we have this value that y is equal to 5 minus 7x minus 6 x raised to power 2 raised to power 2, y is equal to 5 minus 7x minus 6x raised to power 2. Now 4 minus 3 is less than x, and x minus 3 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than or equal to 2. Now, first of all, let's interpret our inequality. Here, x minus 3 is less than or equal to x. Now, what it means is that x is any value that is greater than or equal to minus 3. Therefore, x is a number that is below or equal to x is a number that is greater than or a number that is above or equal to minus 3. So we are starting with minus 3, and here x is also a number that is less than or equal to 2. So we are ending with 2. The greatest number for x is 2, while the smallest number for x is minus 3. Now with this, we now design our values for x. Our values for x in a table, we have x. The values, it starts with minus 3. So we have minus 3, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. Now having this, we now go back to our equation. Now we start to input all the terms in the equation. The first term is 5. So we put 5 under 5. We are going to have, it has no variable. So we put 5 here, 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 and put 5 here. Now the next term is minus 7x, minus 7x, minus 7x. Now that means take the value of x and times it by minus 7. So this one becomes minus 3 times minus 7. So we are going to have 21. We now have 14. We now have 7. Then we now have 0. We now have 7. This is minus 7, minus 7, and we have minus 14, minus 14. Now with this, we now go back to our table, to our equation. You have minus 6x raised to power 2. So we put it again, a term for minus 6x raised to power 2. Now for minus 3, it is minus 3 raised to power 2 times minus 6. That is going to give us minus 54. And this one will give us minus 24. Then this one will give us minus 6. This one will give us 0. While this one will give us minus 6. Minus 6. This one will give us that is minus this times this, or will it give us minus? It will give us, so minus 6, and now we have minus 14. We have minus 24, minus 24. Now we find our value for all the terms have finished. So we look for the value of y by adding everything in the table. So we draw a line. Our y, to get our y, we add everything from here down to this place. We add them together. We are not adding this one. So this one becomes 5 plus 21 minus 54. Now what we are going to have here is, we are going to have for y, for minus 3, we are going to have minus 28. We have minus 5. We have here, this is going to be 6, and 0. This is going to be the 5. That is 5 plus 0 plus 0. That is going to give us 5. And then this one is going to give us minus 8. While the last one is going to give us minus 33. This is going to give us minus 33. Alright, so we create the rows. Okay. Alright, so this is how to create this table again. Yeah, you can now bring out the values of x and the values of y in a very small table if you like. If you like, you can also leave it in this big table and create your curve or your graph, which is what we are going to discuss in the next class. The next way they can also give you this question is that they can give you directly the values of x. They can create a small table and say, let me say x, they have 1, 2, 0, minus 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. Then and ask you to find the values of y. Maybe the equation given to you may be y is equal to x squared plus 3x minus 1. So here, the values of x have been given to you directly. There's no need trying to determine it again using the inequality descent. Here, the values are given directly. So you just look for the values of y by putting all the terms under the table, and then at the end you sum them together to get your value of y. There's no inequality to solve here. You already know the values of x. So that is another way they can give you this question. Sometimes they give you the numbers direct. Some other times they give you the numbers as inequality, just to check your knowledge of inequality. Then you'll be able to bring out the values of x from whatever is given to you, and then you solve the equation. So that is how to do this. Thank you.